Hello, YouTube. Hello, YouTube. Hello. Hello, YouTube. Hello, YouTube. Welcome back to my channel. This is Lonnie Jones Photography, Episode 2. Now, I want to thank you, first of all, for the 33 of you who subscribed in the last week. That's 33 subscribers in only 1 week. I'm pretty okay with that. Let's just keep it going. And when we get to 500, I'm going to give away a copy of one of my prints. When we get to 1,000, I'm going to give away another one. Now, the question came up recently, what's in your camera bag? Well, to start with, what is my camera bag? Now, a lot of people will have something like this, which is just a small little bag, barely big enough for a DSLR. I use it to carry my GoPro Hero cameras, which I'll get into a little bit later. And there's a few accessories that go with that I can clamp it to a bicycle handlebar or something of that nature, which I've done in the past. But I've upgraded to this Lowepro. It's a sling, goes over one shoulder, and then there's another strap that comes up from the back and clamps into the side of this strap here and holds it in place nicely and securely. So to start with, it's not what's in the bag, it's what's on the bag. This is my tripod. It's a Neewer 64, and I'm going to tell you, this guy deserves its own video. So that's going to come in a couple of weeks' time. But in the meantime, what's on the inside of the camera bag? We'll start with opening it up. And of course, the first thing to come out is my camera. This is my Canon EOS Rebel T6. It's a DSLR, digital SLR camera. It's not high-end, but it certainly does a good job, as you've seen in some of the images I've taken already. And it's got an SD card on the inside, which gives me a fair amount of storage space. I shoot RAW and high-quality JPEGs with it. It's a fine camera. There's nothing wrong with it. I've added an L bracket, which when I do the video on my tripod, I'll get into the L bracket as well. So also on the inside of my camera bag, besides this camera, which is equipped with a kit lens, which is the lens that comes with the camera. This is a 18 to 55 millimeter kit lens. It's a bit of a zoom. Then I have this, which is a 55 to 250 zoom lens. So I can go from 18 to 250 by changing one lens. This is a 24 millimeter wide angle. But this is great for landscape photography, which is what I try to specialize in. I love landscapes. They don't argue with you if you don't take the right image, the right angle. So also in here, I carry my video camera. Full disclosure, this is not the video camera that I use anymore. This one doesn't even work, but it's the same size. So just so you have an idea that it will fit in this bag as well. Also in this bag I have a set of Neewer neutral density filters, and this one contains 2-stop, 4-stop, 8-stop, and 16-stop. Now if I need something in between, I just combine them together. This is a clear filter just to cover the end of my lens to prevent it from getting scratched or something. It's easier to replace a $10 filter than it is to replace a lens. This is a Hoya polarizer. It's like putting a pair of polarized sunglasses on your camera. Cuts down on glare, on water, and some things like that. Wet grass, for example, in the early morning. The dew on the grass can be a bit reflective, so this polarizer will cut down on that reflection. Also in here, I have extra batteries for my camera, extra batteries for my accessories like my lav mic and remote control. And I went to the dollar store, Dollarama, and I picked up 2 of these for $1.25 each. And surprisingly enough, they're made by Lowepro. So I have one with batteries, and I have an empty one with a piece of red tape on it, just so I can tell them apart. And what I'll do if a battery goes dead or a pair of batteries run out of power, I just put them in this bag and I bring them home. And they're rechargeable batteries, so I just charge them up again. And I also have a spare battery for my video camera and some silica gel to keep things nice and dry. So that's what's in the main compartment of my camera bag. Let's go to the front compartment. Now in here, easy to get at, I have lens cloths. They're used for cleaning the lenses of your camera. They're non-abrasive, so like if you use a Kleenex or a paper towel, you could scratch your filter or your lens. So these cloths are designed to not do that. And surprisingly enough, every time I got this bag, there was a lens cloth in it. I got my video camera secondhand. There was a lens cloth in the bag with that as well. So ultimately, I'm always collecting lens cloths, and that's not a bad idea. They also make good Christmas gifts for anybody who happens to be married to or living with a photographer. Just remember that. So also in here, I have a lens pen, which has a little suction cup on the end. And that's good for cleaning fingerprints and such oily substances or something like that off your lens as well. On the other end of it, there's a tiny brush, some lens cleaning solution. I'd probably use that more on my glasses than I would on my camera. I have another brush. I have a couple of pens with ink in them and a little notebook, just in case I need to jot something down, maybe contact information for another photographer or a location where I might be finding a good picture or a good coffee shop, something of that nature. And I have here, these are like clamps. And if you got 2 filters screwed together and they get a little stuck there, you can use these clamps, one on each filter, and unscrew them. So that kind of gives things a little bit, makes things a lot easier for getting things apart. So that's this little front pocket. Now up here on the top, I have another pocket in which I have, first and foremost, emergency rations, just in case I run out of breakfast. Granola bar, pack of raisins. That'll give me enough energy to get back to the car and maybe hopefully a sandwich or go someplace where I can get something to eat. Because I do find that sometimes I push myself beyond my caloric intake and I end up feeling quite hungry on the trail. I got a couple of card readers, so I can take the SD card out of my camera, plug it into a tablet or a laptop or a tower computer. It's just a basic USB plug, and the card just fits in the slot on the side. Tic Tac, just in case the morning coffee is leaving a bad taste in my mouth. I got a bulb with which is an air bulb, and that's used for blowing dust off the lens of my camera. If you use your breath, you could carry saliva, or in my case, I might have something on my facial hair that would end up on the lens and make things worse. So I use this for blowing things, dust and whatnot, off my lens. Kind of a handy little device. I got a wrist strap for times when I'm afraid I might drop my camera when I'm shooting handheld. So I just clamp this onto a little ring on my camera, and if I do lose my grip, it won't go far. And it may only be psychological, but it is a really good feeling to know that my camera is quite secure. Now also, inside, I didn't show you this, I forgot. I have a little envelope with extra SD cards. Just in case I fill one up, I've got another one. I try not to go with large SD cards. Some people use like 230 gigabytes. If you use a large SD card and it becomes corrupted, you've lost everything on it. At least with small capacity cards, you don't lose everything. So that's kind of a good idea, something I'll pass along to you. Now, I do have extra goodies that aren't in my camera bag that basically won't fit in my camera bag. And what I have here, I have this little case that a friend of mine gave me. It was, I think, something that a dog groomer used and used to carry his tools to groom the dogs. So what I have in here, I have a Photolex remote, and this is wireless, and so all I have to do is turn it on, and there's a light. It's backlit so I can see at nighttime, and this end plugs into the camera. There's a small little cord that attaches on here, plugs into the camera, and I can be up to, I think, 50 meters away and trigger my camera. So I can put myself in a shot, talk about taking selfies to extremes, or I can use it as a basic timer device. So I can set this up to shoot images every 10 seconds to do a time lapse, or I can use it to open the shutter and keep it open for a number of minutes, and then it'll automatically shut down. It's a much more versatile remote than I was expecting to get for the, I think it was $30 that I paid for it. So that's a good thing. Also, when I'm doing video like this, right now I'm using a Shure SM58 vocal mic, but that's not practical out in the field. So out there, I have a wireless. This end plugs into the camera. This end attaches to my belt. And then this little lapel mic goes on my shirt or jacket, and I can talk to the camera from a distance. Again, I think about 50 feet. This is technically known as a Lavalier, I would assume. It's a French word. Or in North America, we'd probably call it a Lavalier. I always called it a lapel mic, and it's not a bad little unit. Got decent sounding quality. I'll take it out someday when I'm shooting out in the field and let you hear what it sounds like. So those are just a few of the goodies that I carry around with me. I also have two of these GoPro Hero 960. They're really old technology. They're probably 12, 13 years old now. But for what I do with them, they do fine. The only problem is that this little lens here is kind of a fisheye effect. So it kind of makes things wider and broader than they need to be. But that's not bad when you're doing like panoramic scenes of landscapes and such. And the good thing about these is that they are waterproof. So you can put these inside a waterfall and it'll still work. So that's kind of a cool effect to have as well. Now, obviously this time of year, mid-February in Atlantic Canada, I'm not going into any waterfalls. But in the summer, who knows? I might strap one of these on and go for a walk, end up under a waterfall. So, and finally, I have this, which is it's a Canon 430 EX3 RT Speedlight. It's a flash. You saw it at the intro of my last video, episode 1. This is a good little unit. I got it relatively inexpensively at the same place where I got my first DSLR, a place called Digital World in Fredericton, New Brunswick. So if you happen to be in the area, or if you happen to live there, drop in. I don't do a lot of indoor photography, and when I do, I try to use whatever available lighting I have and get my exposure from my aperture and ISO. However, there are times when something like this is necessary, and so I have it with me just in case. I've done some interesting things with flash photography in the outdoors as well. And certainly if your subject is backlit, but you want to get a little highlight on the face, or if it's a tree on that particular side, maybe the pattern in the bark or something, a flash is always a handy thing to have. So with that, that's just about it for today's episode. I do want to thank my subscribers, and I want to get more. So everybody who's subscribed, tell some of your friends. And if you're watching this for the first time, please subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification button, and stay tuned for episode 3. I'll see you next time. And now to edit. Oh.